Why hit the wall? Don't be stupid. Don't worry, you won't be stupid by hitting it. Lin Xiaoyu's brain buzzed loudly, and the sound of dialogue in her ears accompanied by tinnitus. Very noisy. Without opening her eyes, the 3 and 5-bodied man carried her on his shoulders and swaggered into the back room. Lin Xiaoyu was thrown on the bed. The man turned around and yelled at the yard, "Xiu Ying, come and look at her, don't tell her to hit the wall again." Lin Xiaoyu blinked her heavy eyelids. Dimly, she saw a strange face approaching her, and the woman sat down beside her. "Who is this? What happened? Don't try to survive, enter my door, On Shun, and life will be better," the woman said to her in the voice of someone who came by. Lin Xiaoyu was quiet for a while, the faint pain on her forehead only relieved, and she gradually recovered her sanity. She remembered. Before she lost consciousness, she was staying up all night gnawing books, doing the final sprint for Cobb. At that time, the severe pain from the heart made her unconscious. Looking at the 4-walled hut, Lin Xiaoyu looked blank. Could it be that she died suddenly? Then why would you wake up here? "Xiao Yang, come here." At the door, Yan Yang shrank his head and looked timid. Hearing the woman's call, he took a step and ran to the woman's side. "Xiao Yang, her name is Lin Xiaoyu. Starting today, this is your wife." The woman patted Yan Yang's hand, pointed at Lin Xiaoyu and introduced, "She lives with you in this room. At night, you sleep on 2 beds." "Mom." The 1.8-meter tall Yan Yang looked at Lin Xiaoyu with fear in his eyes. She doesn't like Xiao Yang. She hits the wall. The woman frowned and looked at Lin Xiaoyu again. "You are now the Yan family's daughter-in-law. Your natal family collects money and tickets and sells you. Whether you like it or not, you will have to take care of Xiao Yang in the future." Hearing this, some memories that didn't belong to her were absorbed in my mind. Lin Xiaoyu realized that she was wearing a book. I chased the chronology of the 70 rich little farmer's wife before, and there is a cannon fodder girl with the same name and surname in it. In the article, the original owner, Lin Xiaoyu, was sold to the fool Yan Yang as a wife because of her poor family. But in fact, Yan Yang is not a simple fool, even the biggest villain in this book. He is a person with schizophrenia and has 3 personalities. Because the master is a 6-year-old child, in this age of underdeveloped medical care, the whole village is regarded as a fool. The original owner, Lin Xiaoyu, was very unwilling to marry the fool Yan Yang. Originally, he bullied the fool Yan Yang for a long time. Later, after he fell in love with the original hero, he tried to use pesticides even more. Her various methods have completely activated his violent personality, made him occupy the master character and become a big villain. And the first thing he did after being blackened was to divorce the original master Lin Xiaoyu and give him to the beggar. After that, she began to pursue the heroine Bai Yue Guang, whom she had always admired, and opposed the heroine. At this time, it is the beginning plot of the villain's story. The original owner Lin Xiaoyu was twisted to Yan's house. Because he didn't want to marry a fool, he hit the wall and resisted. As a result, it was Lin Xiaoyu, the soul of the 21st century, who woke up. "Oh my God!" Lin Xiaoyu took a deep breath, her bright eyes widened slightly, and her unusual eyes fell on Yan Yang. She turned out to be the villain's wife. What a shame! Yan Yang timidly hid behind the woman. "Mom," she stared at me. The woman also glared back at Lin Xiaoyu. Her eyes were so fierce that the bluffing Lin Xiaoyu did not dare to speak. "Su Yang." In the yard, a man's voice came, "Come out." "Hey!" Wang Xiuying responded loudly and hurriedly got up. Before leaving the room, she turned her head and stared at Lin Xiaoyu. "Wake up and talk to Xiao Yang, don't look for life anymore, it's useless." Lin Xiaoyu. After Wang Xiuying went out, Lin Xiaoyu and Yan Yang remained in the small inner room. They stared at each other with small eyes and wide eyes. After a while, Yan Yang grumbled in his throat, turned and ran out of the house. Lin Xiaoyu. He was scared first. She should be the one to be afraid of? After all, he is the villain. There was pain in her head. Lin Xiaoyu stretched out her hand and touched her forehead, touching a big bag on top of her head. It was left by the original owner hitting the wall just now. Standing up, Lin Xiaoyu walked to the door of the room, revealing a pair of big watery eyes, and looked at the scene in the courtyard. In the yard, two families are trading. Lin Xiaoyu saw the man headed, holding a pile of coins in her hand. The woman named Xiu Ying just now entered the opposite room, and when she came out later, she also took a bunch of tickets and a sack of things in her hand. The distance is too far, Lin Xiaoyu can't see clearly. I only heard the man say, 19.9 yuan, 10 food stamps, 5 cloth tickets, and 10 kilograms of cornmeal. Everything is here. In the future, this woman, even if she runs back, has to be twisted back for me. Lin Xiaoyu knew that the woman in the man's mouth was her. So, she was sold here by a poor mother for 19 yuan and 9. Lin Xiaoyu was cold in her heart. Although she knew that it was the established life experience of the original owner, Lin Xiaoyu, when she thought that she was being sold, Lin Xiaoyu's nose was sore and her eyes turned red. She looked across from the man, the maiden family who collected the money. The woman counted all the money and tickets, and quickly collected them in her pocket. Okay, then we'll leave. The money is collected too quickly. Muse feelings. Seeing this situation, Lin Xiaoyu let out a deep sigh. The crocodile tears that were about to shed just now were taken back with enthusiasm. Such a maiden family, it's fine to be broken. In the yard, Lin Xiaoyu's family received everything, turned around and left, without even looking at Lin Xiaoyu. After all, this is not marrying a daughter, but selling a daughter. Although I don't know how poor my natal family is, I'm going to sell my daughter. But Lin Xiaoyu knew that from this moment on, she would no longer be related to her natal family. This is what it says in the book. In the yard, all the Yan family remained, and now they can be regarded as Lin Xiaoyu's in-laws. The plot at this time is still in the early rhythm of the original text, in the autumn of 1977. At this time, Yan Yang has not blackened, and the personality of the 6-year-old is the master, occupying the 19-year-old body. Looking at this chronological essay at that time, Lin Xiaoyu actually felt that the coolest point in the whole essay was on Yan Yang. Because of his 3 personality settings, his decisive means of dealing with bad daughters-in-law, the various plots of his career and emotional struggles with the male protagonist, it is an extremely comfortable reading experience. However, after such a man became her husband, Lin Xiaoyu was frightened. At this moment, she looked at Yan Yang in the yard, squatting on the ground playing with small rocks, her eyes full of complex emotions. Although she didn't know how she came here, but now, she can only be his wife first. Otherwise, he will send it to the beggar in the later stage. Okay, let's eat in the house when people leave. In the main room, there was an urging sound from the old lady. Lin Xiaoyu saw that the people in the yard walked into the main house one by one, her belly sang the empty city plan unconsciously. At this time, Yan Yang, who was squatting on the ground not far away, suddenly cried, "Mom! What's up?" Wang Xiuying turned to look at Yan Yang. Yan Yang raised his hand and pointed his finger at Lin Xiaoyu next to him. Wang Xiuying threw a knife at Lin Xiaoyu, but opened her mouth and said, "Go and eat together." Lin Xiaoyu took a breath and walked out of the back room. Yan Yang also got up at that time, and jumped to keep up with Wang Xiuying. "Mom, is there any meat to eat today?" Wang Xiuying patted him on the back. "No, where is the meat?" Lin Xiaoyu followed their mother and son and walked into the lobby of the main house together. A large wooden square table is placed in the center of the lobby, and those who sit around the table for a week are strangers and strangers to Lin Xiaoyu. Under Wang Xiuying's sign, Lin Xiaoyu sat beside Yan Yang. Before the chopsticks were lifted, Wang Xiuying delivered a bowl of rice to Lin Xiaoyu, you feed Xiao Yang first, and you will eat after he finishes it. Lin Xiaoyu glanced at Yan Yang next to him. He still held a small book in his hand and turned his head down and concentrated on turning. The scene at this time is indeed the plot in the book. The personality of Yan Yang, a 6-year-old child, is responsible for Wang Xiuying's daily life. Feeding is also one of the reason why Wang Xiuying bought Yan Yang a daughter-in-law was to give Yan Yang to her daughter-in-law to take care of her. The original owner, Lin Xiaoyu, hated this very much. At the beginning, she refused to take care of Yan Yang. As a result, in exchange for the lesson of Wang Xiuying and his wife's four-handed fist. Thinking of the tragic consequences, Lin Xiaoyu obediently picked up the rice bowl, scooped up the food, fed the meal first, and talked about the resistance later. What? Yan Yang opened his mouth while flipping through the little man's book, and took over Lin Xiaoyu's feeding. At this time, the distance between the two was very close, and Lin Xiaoyu was able to see Yan Yang clearly. With sword eyebrows and star eyes, his nose is high, and underneath are his smiling lips, his facial features are very resistant, and his appearance is not low. Lin Xiaoyu's belly slander, it seems that the villains in the novel are indeed Wang Yan, and the chronology is no exception. But think about it again, can a villain who can compete with a male lead and a female lead, can his face be low? Don't eat taro. Yan Yang frowned because he bit the blunt taro. Although he was innocent in speaking, the frowning eyebrows at that moment really made Lin Xiaoyu's heart trembled. Lin Xiaoyu frowned when he thought that he was the big villain, then I won't give you taro. Yan Yang asked again, is there any meat? Lin Xiaoyu watched a whole table of food, the only bowl of custard was placed on the opposite corner of the table, no. In this family, except for Wang Xiuying, no one likes Yan Yang, a fool, so he won't let Yan Yang sit in the place where he can put his food. Sitting in front of the custard, Yan Hongying said straightforwardly, a fool still wants to eat meat. It's so beautiful. Yan Yang hummed, turned to Lin Xiaoyu, and did not speak in anger. At this time, the elder of the Da Fang family, Yan Daijun, said again, the third child, tomorrow morning, take your daughter-in-law to the police station to register an account, and then go to the village branch to find the captain and name it. In the afternoon, I will bring you to work together. There can't be two people who eat plain rice. Lin Xiaoyu. I didn't eat a bite of rice. Hey! Is this time to start arranging live? When Lin Xiaoyu came to school, she saw Yan Yang, who was about 1.8 meters tall, was being used as a horse by a few 8 or 9-year-old children, and even 2 people were driving on him. This scene is called Lin Xiaoyu, that big fire. In a few minutes, she rushed over at a pace that her 6 relatives did not recognize, grabbed Wang Xiaosheng's hand and pulled it up. Smelly boy! What are you doing? Wang Xiaosheng had never seen Lin Xiaoyu, but he was not afraid of her at all, and he raised his neck and replied, it's up to you if we play games with fools. Who are you? I am his wife. Lin Xiaoyu rolled her sleeves on her hips, staring at Wang Xiaosheng with the fiercest eyes. Wang Xiaosheng was stunned for a moment, but then he burst into laughter, ha ha ha. Fools and daughters-in-law. Ha ha ha. Wang Xiaosheng's mocking attitude is full of inferiority, but the boys around him laughed at him. Ha ha ha, I have never seen a fool who can still beg a wife. A fool can also marry a wife. Ha ha. These bear kids, repeating words and saying, I am afraid that they can't even find an adjective to laugh at people. Lin Xiaoyu glared at these bear children, and helped Yan Yang up again, protecting her small body in front of him. All the kids from someone's family have the ability to report their names. Lin Xiaoyu raised her chest on her hips, aggressively, that's how your parents taught you? That's how you bully people when you come to school? Believe it or not, I'll go to your teacher to complain. Hey, why are you so fierce? We didn't bully the fool. We are playing with the fool. Wang Xiaosheng did not admit their bullying behavior. Yan Yang is mentally deficient, Wang Xiaosheng and the others are so bully, but Lin Xiaoyu seems to be a normal adult. 8 or 9-year-old children are still more or less afraid of adults, so they are a little jealous of Lin Xiaoyu. How Lin Xiaoyu laughed sarcastically, I'm not stupid when he is stupid, you guys call it fun? I want to go home and find your dad to play. Everyone has someone's name, and I have to come out one by one and find your dad. Mom can't talk about it. Lin Xiaoyu's momentum was very strong, and a few words scared the bear children from laughing and speaking. Of course, I didn't dare to report to myself, for fear that Lin Xiaoyu would really appeal to their parents. Cut. Don't play if you don't play. I won't play with fools anymore. The headed Wang Xiaosheng raised his hand and waved. After saying this, he immediately turned and ran away. When his brother Wang Dashan saw him run away, he immediately ran away, as did several bear children. But after a while, this group of bullies fled and flinched. Lin Xiaoyu turned around and patted Yan Yang's knees on the ground. Just now, you won't want to play with them anymore. I want to play with them. Silly Yin Yang said weakly. Lin Xiaoyu frowned and patted him on the shoulder with hatred for iron and steel. Is it fun? Not fun at all. I don't think you look very happy. The silly Yan Yang narrowed her mouth and did not speak when she was wronged. With such a handsome face and such an aggrieved expression to her, it is hard for Lin Xiaoyu to blame him for being called a licking dog. Well, I'm not murdering you either. Lin Xiaoyu touched his head and soothed, don't be sad, let's go home. Yan Yang Guo's big eyes stared at Lin Xiaoyu with a dazed expression. Let's go. Lin Xiaoyu took his hand and led him to go home. Chuan treats him as a child, and he always has to hold him on the road. Lin Xiaoyu doesn't feel embarrassed. As he walked, Yan Yang suddenly said, daughter-in-law, so, you are pretty good. In the second half of the sentence, Lin Xiaoyu was used. The previous title. Lin Xiaoyu trembles with goosebumps, you call me a wife. Yan Yang, Lin Xiaoyu, then you will listen to me in the future. Yan Yang was puzzled, do I want to listen to you? Lin Xiaoyu nodded earnestly, I am your daughter-in-law, you have to listen to your daughter-in-law, so that your daughter-in-law will treat you well. If you are not obedient, I will not treat you well. Yan Yang was suddenly a little frightened, well, then I will listen to you. Silly Yin Yang is unexpectedly so coaxing. Compared with the depressed Yan Yang last night, she is much more cheerful. Lin Xiaoyu thought again, is she considered a preliminary conquering of the villain? As soon as he got home, Wang Xiuying called Yan Yang to the kitchen, and Lin Xiaoyu followed. Today, the old hen at home laid an extra egg. Wang Xiuying secretly steamed a bowl of custard, and asked Yan Yang to eat it before everyone else came back. Hurry up and eat it, and treat it as if you haven't eaten it before. Don't say anything. Wang Xiuying taught Yan Yang like this. Lin Xiaoyu, who was also in the kitchen, stared at the stove, and drooled frantically on the few dishes that had just been cooked. Wang Xiuying also saw Lin Xiaoyu's expression, frowned and took a pair of chopsticks to her, eat some, don't let anyone see it. Thank you, mother-in-law. Lin Xiaoyu took the chopsticks and hurriedly put a few chopsticks in a few vegetables. Originally it looked very delicious, but it tasted without any oil and water, and the taste was very. Lin Xiaoyu felt that she was eating grass, and her appetite instantly halved. Why? Doesn't it taste good? Wang Xiuying glanced at Lin Xiaoyu, I didn't notice, you are quite squeamish. Although it was really unpalatable, Lin Xiaoyu, still ignorant of his conscience, smiled at Wang Xiuying, it's delicious, I just can't bear to eat it. You take a few more bites while there is no one. Wang Xiuying reminded her, I will be on the dinner table later, but a chopstick may not be able to catch it. Lin Xiaoyu remembered that she finished feeding Yan Yang last night, and when she ate by herself, the bottom of the plate was indeed empty, only the juice was left. So she boldly suggested to Wang Xiuying, mother-in-law, can't we let Xiao Yang eat it by himself? Look at him now, isn't it good to eat custard for himself? Where can it be? Wang Xiuying glanced at her. If he eats by himself, he will have to be scolded to death by his second aunt. Lin Xiaoyu asked, why? When Lin Xiaoyu was Wang Xiuying's daughter-in-law, she also said something in her own words, Xiao Yang wants to eat by herself, and will choose good ones. Eggs, meat, fish, these things, our family can't have his turn. Eat. His second aunt's mouth is too eloquent, and he doesn't work to make money, so he is at a loss. Lin Xiaoyu nodded slowly, and gradually understood the family status stratification of the Yan family. At this time, Yan Yang had already devoured the custard. Mom, I'm finished. Wipe your mouth clean, don't say anything. Wang Xiuying hurriedly went to collect the bowls, and turned back to Lin Xiaoyu and said, you can eat a few more chopsticks so that you don't have to eat buns. When Lin Xiaoyu thought of eating steamed buns last night, she quickly picked up her chopsticks and ate a few mild dishes. However, the conversation in the kitchen at this time happened to be heard by Yan Hongying, who was passing by the kitchen. Yan Hongying also sneaked into her head and saw from the crack in the door that Yan Yang was eating custard. Any fool can eat custard. The broken woman bought for 19 yuan 9 eats vegetables. Isn't this telling the whole family to eat a woman's saliva? Yan Hongying is very angry when he thinks about it. But she didn't break through them, and suffocated her breath. Yan Hongying was going to tell her second uncle's Yan Lianhua before eating, and let Yan Lianhua tell her second aunt. The second lady's mouth can say, she must scold her family to death. After a while, it was time for lunch. Several parents arrived home one after another, and the home gradually became lively. Lunch is eaten in the lobby of the main house, and warm meals are served on the table. Before everyone was seated, Yan Hongying pulled Yan Lianhua to a corner, and immediately bit her ears, and told Yan Lianhua what she had heard outside the kitchen door this morning. She is a daughter of a big family, and a daughter of a second family. She is no less than 2 years old. She usually enters and exits at the same time. It seems to outsiders that she has a very good relationship. And they all have the same annoying person Yan Yang, so they can talk even more. It just so happened today that Yan Hongying came for a monthly affair, and she was lazy for a day, and asked her mother to ask her to take time off and not go to work. As a result, it was found that in the Sanfang family, Wang Xiuying secretly gave Yan Yang custard, and also let the broken woman who bought it for 19 yuan to eat vegetables. After Yan Hongying told Yan Lianhua of this matter, Yan Lianhua immediately became angry and raised his voice directly, why are they doing this? Too shameless. Several elders in the lobby looked at her, and Lin Xiaoyu also looked at her. Knowing that so many people are paying attention to her, Yan Lianhua deliberately screamed, how come there are such people? It's too disgusting. Keep your voice down, stop talking. Yan Hongying pulled on Yan Lianhua's clothes, and continued to bite her ears. It is inappropriate for us to say this, mainly because of the third aunt. This matter has to be told by an adult. Yan Lianhua also felt that what Yan Hongying said made sense, but was very angry. Those eyes fixed on Lin Xiaoyu, as if they were about to burst into anger. Sit down and eat. All the food was on the table, and the old lady and old man sat on the table. Several people sat down around the big table, and the good dishes were still in front of Da Fang and Fang, and San Fang always had a big pot of steamed bun or a big bowl of rice in front of them. In front of Lin Xiaoyu was a pot of yellow steamed bun, and Yan Yang was in front of rice. Lin Xiaoyu feeds Yan Yang first. It is estimated that when she finishes feeding, the rice and vegetables will be gone, so she must only eat steamed buns. Yan Lianhua didn't eat at noon, and if he didn't eat vegetables, he would eat buns. She disliked that the vegetables were eaten by Lin Xiaoyu first, and did not eat Lin Xiaoyu's saliva. You eat. Yan Lianhua's mother, Chen Quyun, saw that she only ate steamed buns, and her expression was not very good. If you have food and vegetables, don't eat the steamed buns. Why do you just eat the buns? I don't want to tell you now. Yan Lianhua bit the steamed bun, his eyes fixed on Lin Xiaoyu. Lin Xiaoyu found Yan Lianhua's eyes so hot. How? Think she is too beautiful? Don't mess around, eat. Chen Qiun picked up scrambled eggs with chopsticks, and wanted to put it in Yan Lianhua's bowl, but was pushed aside by Yan Lianhua. No, I don't eat vegetables. Leave me alone, I will eat steamed buns. Chen Qiun said angrily, do you like to eat or not? Then she stuffed scrambled eggs into her mouth. Yan Lianhua's provocative eyes still fixed on Lin Xiaoyu, she was going to tell her mother about this later, and then told her mother to catch the current at night. Only then can there be a good show. Lin Xiaoyu found that Yan Lianhua was still staring at her. Probably, she is so beautiful. Oh, can't swell in the afternoon, Lin Xiaoyu went to work with the Yan family's army and went to the production team for the final work of the autumn harvest. After working hard all afternoon, Lin Xiaoyu realized the hardships of the working people. Fortunately, today is the last day of the autumn harvest. After all, it is now November. The autumn harvest is over, and the work of the production team this year is also over. After a period of time, the village will arrange the distribution of food, meat, money, and votes based on individual work points. Lin Xiaoyu caught the tail of labor and earned half a day's work points, so she also had a share. Wang Xiuying was busy again for dinner. When Yan Lianhua went to work this afternoon, she told her mother Chen Qiun of Wang Xiuying's evil deeds. Chen Qiun also cursed angrily for a while, preparing to catch Wang Xiuying's braids at night. Have to ask Sanfang to share something for the new year. However, the family was there for dinner, and Wang Xiuying did not secretly feed Yan Yang and Lin Xiaoyu. Having lost the opportunity, Chen Qiun stared at Wang Xiuying angrily all night, and vowed in his heart that he must catch Wang Xiuying's braids. Lin Xiaoyu didn't know the calculation psychology of these people. Tonight, Lin Xiaoyu, who only ate 2 buns, intends to discuss with Yan Yang, can she not feed her in the future? Pick up your own vegetables to eat, and be a good kid. After washing the dishes and returning to the side room, Lin Xiaoyu walked in and saw Yan Yang changing his pants. She let out a scared cry, ouch! Turning around to close the door, covering his face and turning his back to him, you change clothes like this. The door doesn't close properly. If not. Behind him came the lazy voice picked up by Yan Yang's tail. Lin Xiaoyu heard something wrong, have you changed it? Isn't it my woman? Don't you dare to look. Yan Yang's tone was frivolous and playful, his sword eyebrows were raised lightly, and his face was handsome and elegant. He had changed his clothes and was sitting on the bed, staring at Lin Xiaoyu with black eyes, with a funny expression on his face. Lin Xiaoyu lost motion behind her, turned around, her pupils shrank slightly. Not stupid, not depressed, but arrogant. This is, the third personality comes out. This is the real villain personality. Early in the morning, when Wang Xiuying saw that the adults at home were all out, she was relieved to let Yan Yang eat some chopsticks. No one would have thought that Yan Yang just moved his chopsticks and suddenly someone came. At the door of the room, Chen Qiun not only yelled, but also called the woman from the Da Fang family, Yang Chenjiu, and Yan Hongying and Yan Lianhua, who had been waiting for a good show. It seems that this is not enough. Chen Qiun continues to yell, oh, Mom, your old man will come out and have a look too. Look at the good 3 daughters-in-law you said, what are you doing now? In the room, Wang Xiuying had hurriedly interrupted Yan Yang, who was eating eggs, her face was blue, and she was silent for a long time. This is not the first time that Wang Xiuying has done this sneaky thing, so she has a guilty conscience. On the contrary, Lin Xiaoyu next to her was not guilty and confidently retorted, "Ent, what are you calling? Isn't it just a dish just out of the pot, so you can taste it? Why, you don't need to taste it when you cook. Is it yours? Yes, it's just a taste. Wang Xiuying hurriedly followed Lin Xiaoyu to Lear, second sister-in-law, don't shout, what a big deal. I'm Pooh. Have a taste. Chen Qiun didn't eat the set of their mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. She rushed into the kitchen and went to the stove. She picked up the bowl of eggs that Yan Yang had eaten and turned around, look, the evidence is in my hands. Deliberately scattered the eggs. It's fried so badly, no one will notice it after a few bites. Second auntie, did you speak this way too deliberately? Did our Xiao Yang offend you? Lin Xiaoyu said casually, I'm just going to taste the egg. Is it necessary for you to talk about it? What are you talking about? When is it for you to interrupt here? Chen Qiun turned his head and stared at Lin Xiaoyu. Lin Xiaoyu's position in this family must be the lowest, because she only bought it for 19 yuan. Yes. Even the younger generation Yanlian Hua can look down on Lin Xiaoyu, what are you? You dare to talk back to my mother? Yan Hongying tried to eat this, eager to attack the mastermind, second auntie, third auntie is not the first time. Our old hen sometimes lays 2 eggs a day, but we only ate 1 egg. Who is the third mother fed, now we all know. No, it's really just a taste. Wang Xiuying defended herself, even though she had a little frustration, second sister-in-law, why do you have such a big reaction about using chopsticks? Everyone is a family. Chen Qiun reluctantly quarreled, what's the matter of using a few chopsticks? The third daughter-in-law, the reason why the cooking of our family has fallen on you is all to let you come back from the team earlier, so that you can look stupid. Son. Everyone is working hard for you. Humph. Chen Qiun grunted angrily, and put the bowl of scrambled eggs on the stove, you are good. With everyone's pains, feed your son and daughter-in-law. I tell you, the children have seen you feed your idiot. The custard thing. This thing is endless, I have to call out my mother to uphold justice. In fact, cooking is indeed a fragrant job among the piles of housework, because you can eat some warm dishes secretly. In this age when everyone is full of stomachs, food is more important than anything else. Lao Yan's family has been the chef of Wang Xiuying for so many years, all because the elders sympathized with her having a silly son and allowed her to come back from the production team early every day to see her younger son cooking. Chen Qiun finally figured it out, she was bound to make a big effort to fight for the chef, and also to ask Wang Xiuying to spend less money during the new year. At this time, Su Ai, the old lady of the Yan family, rushed over after hearing the sound. What are you all squeezing here for? The second daughter-in-law was arguing about something just now. The old lady pulled down an old face with a bad expression. The old lady-in-law Yang Chenjiu, who had been silent for a while, immediately walked towards the old lady and held the old lady, Mom! Mom, you are here! Unwilling to show weakness, Chen Qiun stepped forward, babbling for a while, and eloquently explained Wang Xiuying's selfishness. Wang Xiuying, Yan Yang, mother and son were caught upright, and at this time they were passive and had nothing to say. However, Lin Xiaoyu has no guilty conscience, with a righteous expression on her face. She has never been a fearful master. Mom, the child has said it, this is not the first time for the third wife. As the head of the house, you have to talk about this matter well. Chen Qiun relied on the support of the old lady, and at the moment was very confident. Mom, it's not like what the second sister-in-law said. Wang Xiuying defended herself, her tone was vague, it's just for the children to have a taste, Xiao Yang didn't eat much at all. Nonsense! Grandma, the third wife is lying. Yan Lianhua was naturally in the team of her mother Chen Qiun. Hongying told me that she saw with her own eyes San Auntie ate a big bowl of custard for the fool. Said that the old hen laid an extra egg. At this time, Da Fang's daughter-in-law Yang Chenjiu and her daughter Yan Hongying did not speak, but stood silent. If the second child's family is a mantis hunting cicadas, the old family is the oriole. Lin Xiaoyu understood it. No wonder Yan Lianhua stared at her during the meal yesterday, she thought she was too beautiful. One of the top 10 illusions in the world. Okay, isn't it just a matter of moving chopsticks? It's worth your noise. The old lady wrinkled her eyebrows deeply. Although she was talking about troublemakers, she did not let Wang Xiuying off. The third wife, tell me, why did you do this? Didn't you get enough to eat? Mom, it's not like the second sister-in-law said. Wang Xiuying is very weak in front of the head of the family, mainly because their third family is weak in the entire Lian family. Yan Yang was a 6-year-old kid who did something wrong at this time. He dared not speak, and hurriedly hid behind Wang Xiuying. When Lin Xiaoyu saw that they were both weak, she couldn't argue with her. Yan Yang is now the personality of a 6-year-old child. It is understandable that Wang Xiuying is shrinking like this. Isn't it obvious that he will be bullied? Old lady, several elders, now I have to stand up for my mother-in-law, my husband said a few words. Lin Xiaoyu stepped forward and locked her resolute eyes on the old lady Yan. Although I have only been married for 2 days, it is obvious that my parents-in-law and my husband cannot eat anything at the dinner table these 2 days. Cai. Not to mention my foreign daughter-in-law, they are the Yan family anyway, so why don't they even have the right to eat an egg? Chen Qiun's eyes sharpened, and Lin Xiaoyu was very upset. You are just the girl bought by our family, it's up to you to say something. I am also the Yan family's wife. My husband is Yan Yang, so I can speak for it. Lin Xiaoyu refused to accept the argument. You are just a woman who was bought to serve a fool. She is a daughter-in-law, but she is actually just a servant of a fool. Yan Lianhua stood beside Chen Qiun and shouted. Because Yan Yang's first personality is a 6-year-old child, the whole village recognizes him as a fool, including his family. Lin Xiaoyu was very upset when he heard that his family insulted him like this. That's because they haven't seen him in the third personality. Domineering cool spin drag. Humph, this group of bottom frogs that have never seen the world. She was about to scold her, when the silly Yin Yang beside her suddenly stood up and retorted in a childish tone, you nonsense. She is my daughter-in-law. You are not allowed to scold my daughter-in-law. When Wang Xiuying saw this, she was quite touched by Lin Xiaoyu's short-term protection. She also stood up and said, enough, don't call me Xiao Yang by a fool. Doesn't my family just need a little labor? You run like this. You also know that your family has less labor. Chen Qiun reluctantly said, it was already taking advantage of everyone, so I stole this oil and water in private. Chen Qiun turned to the old lady and said angrily, Mom, let me see, their family should divide the money at the end of the year. Also, the job of cooking is not suitable for the third wife. Correct. Yan Lianhua helped her mother, Grandma, this fool doesn't have to do anything, and he hides from home to eat and drink. My brother works so hard in the town, and the money is taken home, and the fool can still spend him a share. It's worth it. Chen Qiun followed closely, yes. My son works outside to make money to supplement our big family. Every day the old thirds eats rice at a cheap price. I'm very dissatisfied. Indeed, the eldest son of the Fang family works in the town and sends some money home regularly, and is used by the old lady as the family's household. This is enough for Chen Qiun to speak with confidence in Lao Yan's house. The old lady also had to help them because of what they mentioned, the third daughter-in-law, you really can't do this authentically. Have lunch at noon and let the master decide. The old lady didn't want to care about it, so she turned around and left. Mom, slow down. Yang Chenjiu of the Da Fang family helped the old lady to leave, and Yan Hongying also left. Chen Qiun and Yang Lianhua grinned at Wang Xiuying and took all the food on the stove and left. In a short while, there were only 3 people in the 3-bedroom house. Yan Yang knew he had done something wrong, and bowed his head to apologize proactively, Mom, daughter-in-law, I'm sorry, I caused trouble again. It's okay, you're right, it's Mom's fault. Wang Xiuying touched Yan Yang's head, naturally unable to blame him. She had only one son, and she started to be stupid when she was 6 years old, and she also recognized the stupidity. Mother-in-law, they are too bullying. Lin Xiaoyu said angrily, isn't it because Xiao Yang couldn't go to work? Okay, stop talking. Wang Xiuying thinks that her son is stupid, so she should suffer from it. Fortunately, the daughter-in-law I bought was not bad, and Lin Xiaoyu was sincere to Xiao Yang, which also made Wang Xiuying feel relieved. Mother-in-law, I have seen it in the past few days. It's too embarrassing to live with them. Lin Xiaoyu stepped forward and suggested, Mother-in-law, can't we divide the family? After the division, we will have our own little family. In this way, she doesn't have to feed Yan Yang. It's another more comfortable day. What nonsense! Wang Xiuying refused, how can you have such an idea? How shameful it is to split the family. In particular, if their 3 rooms were separated, the villagers would have to laugh at the fault of the fool Yan Yang. Wang Xiuying can't stand her son being laughed at. After a big fight, Chen Qiun took Yan Lianhua back to her house. As soon as the door was closed, Yan Lianhua came up excitedly and asked urgently, Mom, if San Auntie is not in charge of the cook, will the position of the cook be yours? You will leave me eggs then. Chen Qiun raised her chin with a smug look on her face, that's not me. How can your auntie's character compete with me? Mom, this is great. Yan Lianhua was very happy, you will be the chef in the future. Bring me back from the production team early every day, so I can work less. Not only work less, but you can also eat more at home. Do not worry. Chen Qiun patted Yan Lianhua on the shoulder, as long as the 3rd daughter-in-law retreats, I guarantee that this position is mine. Yan Lianhua was so happy, Mom, you are great. While the mother and daughter were happy to calculate the position of the chef, on the other side, in the old lady's master bedroom, Da Fang's Yang Chenjiu and Yan Hongying were accompanied by the old lady. The mother and daughter are already blowing the wind in the ears of Granny Yan. Mom, how can you tell me about the 3rd daughter-in-law? Yang Chenjiu helped the old lady sit down on the bed, and said with Yan Hongying, go and pour Grandma a glass of boiling water. Yan Hongying quickly obeyed and ran to pour a cup of warm plain water. The old lady drank the boiled water brought by Yan Hongying, her old eyes looked forward, and said unhurriedly, the 3rd wife is not sensible in doing this. Originally, she considered that Xiao Yang had a bad brain. Tell her to cook on the fire so that she can come back earlier in the production team. But her petty theft really chilled everyone's hearts. The 2nd wife is so worried, it must be changed. Yes, the 3rd wife is really not authentic. Yang Chenjiu followed Mrs. Yan's words and said, Mom, in fact, I think that the 3rd daughter-in-law is not authentic, but the 2nd daughter-in-law was really too aggressive just now. She shouted so loudly, as if she wanted to. This ugly house is like going out. Yup. Old Lady Yan answered repeatedly, I sometimes really don't like the character of the 2nd daughter-in-law. To put it bluntly, that is, to put 2 chopsticks and dishes, tell her to talk about it, as if she was greedy for a big deal. If it wasn't for her to move out of Hongwen to talk about it, I wouldn't want to care about it. Yan Hongwen, the eldest son of the Fang family, found a job in the town and became a family. Every month he would send some money to Lao Yan's house. After all, he is the most promising man in Lao Yan's family. The reason why Chen Qiun speaks so much in this house is also because of Yan Hongwen. The eldest son of the Da Fang family is extremely unreliable. So, it has been more than a month since I was home last time. Yang Chenjiu now raises the children around him, only 15-year-old Yan Hongying and an 8-year-old younger brother who is still in school. Her family is not as great as the contribution made by the Fang family to the family. Therefore, even if Yang Chenjiu is virtuous, his speech at home will not be as important as Chen Qiun. Mom, don't be angry with the 2nd daughter-in-law. The second daughter-in-law has this character. Fortunately, Yang Chenjiu is better at being a human being than Chen Qiun, and she knows how to please the old lady Yan. Moreover, Hongwen has contributed a lot to the family. We really have to be more accommodating to the second wife. It's because of Hongwen. Alas! Mrs. Yan sighed, I don't know what sin was committed at home. Your son is not good, and the third son is a fool. Only Hongwen can be trusted to make the second wife so proud. If this is you, or the son of the third daughter-in-law, use whatever you want, and then my position as the mistress of the house will be given to you too. But it's the second daughter-in-law. I dare not retire at all. I'm afraid that after retiring, the second daughter-in-law will not support her elders. Mom! I know you have a spectrum in your heart. Yang Chenjiu stretched out his hand and placed it gently on the shoulder of the old lady. Mom, no matter what you decide, it doesn't matter to me. When my little one grows up, I will honor you. You still have to be more sensible than the second and third daughter-in-law. Old lady Yan took a sip of warm water, and she was determined in her heart. Yang Chenjiu and Yan Hongying's mother and daughter looked at each other. Yan Hongying raised the corners of her lips silently, cheering in her heart. At lunchtime, a large family of children sat around the table, and the men returned. Chen Qiun mentioned that she caught Wang Xiuying's current affairs this morning. At the dinner table, Chen Qiun and Yan Lianhua's mother and daughter drank one by one, describing Wang Xiuying's evil deeds very unbearably. Wang Xiuying was speechless and couldn't eat food, so she just bowed her head in silence. Lin Xiaoyu was busy feeding Yan Yang to dinner, listening to Chen Qiun's play with Yan Lianhua and her son. Even Yan Yang, a 6-year-old child, also knows that the current atmosphere is not right. However, when Lin Xiaoyu delivered food to his mouth with chopsticks, Yan Yang could only eat obediently. The whole family knew about it. Wang Xiuying's husband, Yan Daong, is quite a man's affiliation. He took the initiative to stand up for his wife and children, saying, since the second wife said it is so serious, you can take care of it. You can deduct the money and you can do it yourself. That must be my mother's decision. I don't have to ask your family to deduct the money, just to let everyone know about this bad situation. Chen Qiun said with a chopstick and egg. Mrs. Yan is in charge of the finances of everyone, including women's affairs. Therefore, Mrs. Yan can make arrangements for this matter. Everyone knows the matter. The third family will deduct 5 yuan from this year's money. The third daughter-in-law will be in charge of the house tomorrow, and the eldest wife will take care of it. Mrs. Yan picked up the rice in the bowl and said unhurriedly, is it okay to arrange this way? Yang Chenjiu succeeded in the calculation and nodded with a smile, I have no opinion, Mom. Hey, how come you become a sister-in-law? With a look of disbelief, Chen Qiun asked the old lady anxiously, why is this a big sister-in-law, Mom? Dare to love me? She is not convinced. She was the one who squatted, she was the one who caught the current, she was the one who quarreled, and she was the one who fought for her. Why did she become the eldest daughter-in-law in the end? Making wedding dresses for others. Yes, Grandma. Yan Lianhua couldn't believe it, my mother discovered this. At the dinner table, the women quarreled, and the men from several families did not speak at all. Because it doesn't matter to a man whether it doesn't matter like a house. Let them fight. It has nothing to do with Lin Xiaoyu. Therefore, when the dog biting the dog suddenly happened, Lin Xiaoyu watched the good show even more lively. She took a bite of the yellow steamed bun, accompanied by this good show, suddenly felt that the yellow steamed bun was fragrant. Mrs. Yan picked up a chopsticks of cabbage, chewed 2 mouthfuls slowly, and said, the third daughter-in-law was in charge of Xiao Yang who was worried about the third family. Now it is given to the elder's wife, who is also worried about the younger son of the elder's wife's family. Take care of the youngest son too, so please make it easier for her. No, her youngest son is not stupid. Chen Qiun was very dissatisfied, so he smashed his chopsticks on the table. Why doesn't her little son go to school? Well, what's wrong? Yang Chenjiu added leisurely, second sister-in-law, school is about to be off. Moreover, my youngest child usually comes back earlier than us. From now on, if I can come back earlier to cook, I can have more time to pick him up at school. Give me convenience. Then we don't go to work anymore, the autumn harvest is over. Chen Qiun refused to give in. I dare to love, I said this for a long time, it has nothing to do with me, right? Chen Qiun was furious, and hit her man with an elbow. Dalan, you have something to say. Yan Dalan didn't want to be involved in this woman's affairs, but his wife had a hard personality, so he added, there are so many things in charge of a house. The two are taking turns. Don't argue with anyone. The dining table once fell into a silent atmosphere. After a while, the old lady Yan came to a conclusion, women are competitive. Come on, let's take a turn. One person a month, no favoritism. After Mrs. Yan finished speaking, this matter was a foregone conclusion. Chen Qiun's eyes rolled around, counting the months, and said, then I will give it to you this month, and it will be mine next month. Everyone knows that when winter begins next month, food will be distributed to the brigade, which is also when the family has the most food. Chen Qiun's abacus is so good. Lin Xiaoyu originally thought that small things could turn into big things like a snowball, but she didn't expect it to be over so soon. I didn't quarrel, really disappointed. After lunch, ushered in a quiet and leisurely afternoon. Lin Xiaoyu coaxed 6-year-old Yan Yang, who never took a nap, into a nap. She sat on the edge of the bed, looking down at his sleeping face, this set of resisting facial features, unmoving smiling lips, so handsome that Lin Xiaoyu couldn't move her eyes away. Is he the king of the villain? Sitting by the bed, Lin Xiaoyu looked forward to. She hopes that Yan Yang who will wake up later will be Yan Yang of the third personality. She wanted to find someone with a strong personality to talk about the situation at home. Bring it on. The third husband. I wanted to wait for Yan Yang of the third personality, but when he woke up from sleep, it was Yan Yang of depressive personality. After he woke up, he sat on the bed in a daze and fell silent. Lin Xiaoyu, who had just returned from chopping wood with Wang Xiuying, went back to the room and saw Yan Yang Chu not moving, her whole body exuding an aura that no one should be near. Well, the second personality is right. Seeing Lin Xiaoyu's arrival, Yan Yang shrank, wrapped in a quilt, and hid in a corner of the bed, making a defensive performance. What are you doing? Don't say you are guarding me. Lin Xiaoyu walked towards him, naturally sat on the bed, leaned in close to him, that little friend of you, and another you, they all recognize me as a wife. When are you going to recognize me? Yan Yang's face turned red when he was asked, and his hand holding the quilt quietly clenched tightly. Of course, he was also surprised by her words. Not sure how she knew, there were 3 selves hidden in his body? Don't be so quiet. Come out, I have something to discuss with you. Lin Xiaoyu leaned closer, her little hand grasping the corner and gently pulling it. At this time, Yan Yang, who couldn't make a sullen fart with a stick, opened his lips, and said, what's the matter? I want to talk about your family's situation. I think the problem at home is quite big, and it's all on you. Lin Xiaoyu said. Yan Yang. The atmosphere freezes for a few seconds. Lin Xiaoyu gave him a push. Why don't you speak a word. Yan Yang. He didn't know what to say. Lin Xiaoyu pushed him again, say something, brother. Yan Yang frowned, only to squeeze out a word like gold, oh. Lin Xiaoyu wrinkled her eyebrows and slapped her hand on the quilt frantically, hey, I am discussing with you. Today, your mother and your lovely wife are being bullied. As a man, should you do something? Her pink lips pursed slightly, and her face was red, like a cat with fried hair. Yan Yang looked at her thin little face, and knew in his heart that she had followed him, and now it was his wife. He has to protect her. Tomorrow. Yan Yang said as his lips moved slightly. Tomorrow, let that him come out. That him should be able to support her. Why tomorrow? Lin Xiaoyu pointed at him with a finger. You want to escape, don't you? Because tomorrow is not you. Wouldn't you just want to let me discuss this with my friend Yan Yang? Not. Yan Yang looked flustered, and defended, it's the other me, not the 6-year-old me. Another. Lin Xiaoyu stared slightly, with a surprised expression, is that Yan Yang who is a little bit bad? The big boss with the third personality? Yan Yang responded softly, yet. Lin Xiaoyu's mouth couldn't help raising a smile, okay. Say it, let him come out tomorrow. If Zhang Ziyi, you can see the personality of that villain tomorrow. I miss his meatloaf. Yan Yang saw her with a flamboyant expression, her thin lips pressed into a line, and she was lost in thought. I wanted to warn her that he has a violent character and must be careful when getting along. But from her performance, she was expecting that he is useless. A man with his personality is not suitable to have a daughter-in-law, he can't protect her at all. Yan Yang's second personality is always in the boundary between depression and low self-esteem, so he can only survive in the dark. Lin Xiaoyu didn't know that Yan Yang was in depression at the moment. She was in a good mood and chatted with him, you came out early today. Can you eat dinner by yourself later? I don't need to feed it, right? Your lord. Yan Yang. However, for dinner, Yan Yang is depressed and does not go out to eat. When it was time for dinner, Yan Yang refused to leave the room. Lin Xiaoyu had to go to Wang Xiuying and let Wang Xiuying call Yan Yang. In the end, Wang Xiuying knew how many personalities Yan Yang had, and kept it secret. After all, her son's low IQ was only passed down as a fool by the villagers. If the villagers knew that her son had several personalities, they would definitely regard her son as a lunatic. At that time, I am afraid it will not be as simple as swearing a fool. It is likely that a joint application will be made to send her son to a mental hospital. This is Wang Xiuying's protection for Yan Yang as a mother. Because Yan Yang was in the wrong state, Wang Xiuying directly asked Lin Xiaoyu to serve a few buns, pick up some vegetables, and hide with Yan Yang to eat. Lin Xiaoyu didn't expect that there would be such a show operation. Knowing this, she hid with him to eat every day. There is no need to feed, there are still vegetables to eat. Lin Xiaoyu went to the room to bring a thermos, locked the door of the small side house, and then took out the instant noodles she brought out from the dream space. In front of Yan Yang, she bubbled the noodles with boiling water, and then lowered her voice and said, you have your secret, and I also have my secret. You must keep these things you don't recognize in secret. Depressed Yan Yang was wrapped in the quilt, biting the yellow steamed bun, and the black and bright pupils were fixed on her. Not talking. Lin Xiaoyu soaked in instant noodles, turned her head, and met Yan Yang's gaze. She raised her eyebrows and cast a wink. Yan Yang quickly staggered his eyes and quickly gnawed 2 big mouthfuls. Lin Xiaoyu's belly slander, is he shy? Yo, young man. Shame. After the instant noodles were opened, Lin Xiaoyu carried a bucket of bowls and brought a chopsticks to Yan Yang first. Come on, you have a taste. Yan Yang shook his head. Try it. It's delicious. Lin Xiaoyu had to give it to him. The more he shrank his head, the more she moved forward, until the noodles touched his lips. Yan Yang was forced to open his lips and took a bite of the noodles she fed. Why did she feed him again? That's how bad habits are developed. Is it tasty? Lin Xiaoyu asked him while taking a bite by herself. Although this braised beef noodles can only hurt the skin of a cow after 1 year. However, it is really better than the food of this era. Yan Yang tasted this heavy but fragrant instant noodles, which tasted really good. However, looking at Lin Xiaoyu at this time, his face gradually became red. Does it taste good? Say something. Lin Xiaoyu put the instant noodles on the bedside table, she sat down beside Yan Yang, and also picked up a steamed bun. Yan Yang only nodded, not speaking. You really don't talk. As Lin Xiaoyu said, she picked up another chopsticks and brought instant noodles to his mouth. You take a few more bites, and the rest will belong to me. No need to. Yan Yang instinctively wanted to hide, but she took advantage of him to talk and suddenly came over, so she could only open her mouth to answer. Lin Xiaoyu fed 3 mouthfuls in a row, and saw that there was half a bowl left, and then brought it to her. The remaining half will belong to me. Yan Yang swallowed a few mouthfuls of instant noodles, his bright black eyes locked on her face, warmth rose in his heart. After the incident at the age of 6, his world was dim. In order to protect himself, he closed himself up so that different souls appeared in his body. Parents, he dared not get close, or accepted into his world. Right now. It seems to her, no way. In Lao Yan's house, Yan Lianhua has always bullied Yan Yang, but she has never been bullied by Yan Yang. She was in a good mood today, thinking about dressing up and looking for her little educated youth brother. When I walked through the yard, I didn't want to pay attention to the fool Yan Yang and the cheap woman who bought it for 19 yuan. Who knows, Yan Yang actually provoked her. Not only did he hit her with corn, but he also laughed so badly that she was ugly. Yan Lianhua furiously picked up a broomstick in the courtyard, cursing and rushing over. What are you smiling at? I haven't laughed at you as a fool, dare you laugh at me? See if I don't teach you. The 1.8 meter tall Yan Yang was definitely not afraid of her posture. He took a corn cob and threw it directly at her. I saw the corn on the cob fall in a parabola, and hit Yan Lianhua's forehead accurately. Boom! Yan Lianhua leaned back, fell a butt, and let out a scream. Ha ha ha! Yan Yang was still laughing, and saying with Lin Xiaoyu, daughter-in-law, look, it's ugly and stupid, ha ha! Lin Xiaoyu knew that he was deliberately picking things up, and watching this scene really felt refreshed. She cleared her throat and decently stopped her. Oh, you can't beat people around. If she wants to leave her body injured, she must go to the elder to file a complaint. Yan Lianhua got up from the ground embarrassedly, her forehead that had just been hit by a corn cob was aching. She angrily said, you have rebelled. You too have rebelled. I tell you, I must tell my mother that the fool bullied me. No, sister. You know Xiaoang's situation too, he certainly didn't mean it. Lin Xiaoyu deliberately pretended to protect Yan Yang, and stuffed a corn cob into Yan Yang's hand, and said to him, Xiao Yang, hurry up and stop playing. The girls are all angry. Taking the corn cob, Yan Yang flicked it again. Yan Lianhua didn't expect that the fool would dare to touch her. Therefore, she was hit in the forehead by a corn on the cob again when she was too late to hide. Boom! Yan Lianhua lay straight on the ground, her eyes widened and she looked at the blue sky in disbelief. Fool! Are you crazy today? Ha ha ha! Fun! Yan Yang laughed and clapped his hands. The fun in the mouth is not a childish tone, but a mature tone. Lin Xiaoyu glanced at him, worried that he would show up. However, I caught a glimpse of the bad smirk on his face, and the morning light shined on his brave facial features, and his free and easy temperament showed no fear. He is too handsome to show off his stuff, he looks bad. Mom! Drunk! Yan Lianhua lay on the ground for half a minute, which is considered to be a half-minute daze. Yan Yang threw a few corn cobs at her again, whistling and urging, get up, idiot! Get up and play! Crazy! The fool is completely crazy. Yan Lianhua didn't dare to sit up, for fear of being hit by him if he sat up. The corn on the cob itself was hard, and the forehead had just been hit twice, and now the whole skull was sore. Yan Lianhua didn't dare to suffer again. Lin Xiaoyu! Take care of your fool! Yan Lianhua yelled angrily while lying on the ground. Okay, then don't file a complaint. Lin Xiaoyu pressed Yan Yang's hand and said loudly on purpose, Xiao Yang, promise me not to play anymore, I will make my sister angry if I play again. Yan Yang patted the crumbs on his hands, turned his head, and turned to Lin Xiaoyu, with a smirk at the corner of his mouth, okay, listen to the wife, what is the daughter-in-law said. His extraordinary handsome Yan Wang face, and the smirk from time to time, made Lin Xiaoyu incompetent to resist. She suppressed her nymphomaniac mentality and continued to deliberately say loudly, Sister, Xiao Yang is not playing anymore, get up quickly. Yan Lianhua took the opportunity to get up from the ground quickly. She wanted to pick up the broom and teach the fool. But today's idiot is already crazy. Considering how tall others are, Yan Lianhua really can't beat him. So, after she got up, she ran a long way, and then shouted angrily, I tell you, idiot! And you, a bargain! This is not over. I will tell my mother. You two will wait to be punished. Right. After shouting, Yan Lianhua ran out of the house angrily. Hiding outside the house, Yan Lianhua quickly cleaned up his image, touched his braids, touched his face. Although I have just been bullied, nothing can stop Yan Lianhua from looking for an educated young brother. She quickly cleaned up her mood and continued to bounce to the educated youth residence. After Yan Lianhua left, Lin Xiaoyu and Yan Yang continued to toss corn cobs in the yard. Yan Yang glanced at Lin Xiaoyu from time to time, and smiled, Daughter-in-law, you are smarter than I thought. The cooperation just now made him feel that they were in good agreement. Lin Xiaoyu was a little proud, of course, I have a very high IQ. Yan Yang smiled, then you are so smart, should the mess be left to you. Today, he is ready to do evil one day. The other two stupid Yan Yangs are too obedient. He rarely comes out once during the day, so he must make some big things. Lin Xiaoyu nodded, the problem is not big. Yan Yang stared at her with scorching eyes. This wife really became more comfortable as she looked at her, I don't come out often, you have to protect yourself. When things get too troubled, you can knock me out, shake them up, and repeat more. A few times, I will definitely be able to come out by then. Lin Xiaoyu frowned, do you want to do this to you? I don't want to do it. Yan Yang said in a shallow tone, yes, that's it. The key is to punch me out. Those two are idiots. Lin Xiaoyu, Ang. He allowed her to beat him, as much violence as possible. This is also the permission of her alone. Later, when Yan Hongying returned home, Yan Yang also found a way to bully her. However, when Yan Hongying was being bullied, Yang Chenjia was cooking in the room. Hearing the movement, he immediately stopped. It's still hard to pretend to be crazy and stupid in front of adults, so Yan Yang stopped his bullying behavior. For lunch, Lin Xiaoyu and Yan Yang still made some steamed buns and vegetables to eat in the small side house. When they were eating Zheng Xiang in the main room, Wang Xiuying and Yan Daong are receiving a bunch of complaints from family members. Yan Lianhua and Yan Hongying joined forces to file a complaint. Especially Yan Lianhua. She was the worst bullied, and there was a red mark on her forehead. When the complaint was made, he said, I went to see brother Xiaoming today, and he laughed at the red mark on my mind. Mom, you also know that brother Xiaoming is a big red man in the village, the best educated youth. Because of that fool, he laughed and made me so angry. Chen Qun was also very angry when she heard it, so she made trouble with Wang Xiuying, the third daughter-in-law, you let your daughter-in-law take care of your idiot. What a good job! Wang Xiuying was silent, and she didn't even have a face to say okay. Yan Yang has been looked down upon by outsiders all the year round because of his low IQ, and he naturally also includes people from the old Yan family. For the Sanfang family, Yan Yang, the only son, is like a burden, like a burden. It would be better for him to be obedient and not to cause trouble. When he causes trouble, Wang Xiuying and Yan Daong and his wife are going to be the first two. At the dinner table, a bunch of people in the family sued Yan Yang. The woman's speech is unpleasant, especially the mouths of Chen Qiun and Yan Lianhua in Fang's family. One thing that is not big is that they are said to be horrible and unforgivable. It's all because of Yan Yang. The male-educated youths look down on Yan Lianhua. Yan Yang ruined Yan Lianhua's marriage. Sins are coming. This meal, Wang Xiuying and Yan Daong ate dull, even a little angry. After the meal, Wang Xiuying and Lin Xiaoyu washed the dishes. In the room, their mother-in-law and daughter-in-law sat side by side. Wang Xiuying washed the dishes for the first time, and Lin Xiaoyu washed the dishes for the second time. The quiet atmosphere lasted only for a while, and was soon broken by Wang Xiuying. "What is Xiao Yang like today?" Lin Xiaoyu paused in her hand, turned her head and looked around, confirming that there is no talent, and said to Wang Xiuying, "Mother-in-law, Xiao Yang is very naughty today, I can't control him." As a rural woman of this age, Wang Xiuying did not know about schizophrenia. She only thought with all her heart that her son might have been evil since he was a child, and there are evil demons hidden in his body, so his personality often changes drastically. There are several personalities in Yan's body, which Wang Xiuying doesn't know. Therefore, Lin Xiaoyu said he was naughty, and Wang Xiuying was not surprised. "Wang Xiuying is just tired, you have seen Xiao Yang's situation these days. Is there anything you want to ask me?" Lin Xiaoyu pursed her lips in pretentious thinking, and then said, "Mother-in-law, Xiao Yang sometimes has a clear mind." Wang Xiuying lowered her head and said softly, "Yes. Sometimes it is clear, sometimes silly. In his situation, only I and his father know about him, and now there is more of you. Don't be afraid of him, he will not hurt you." "I'm not afraid of him." Lin Xiaoyu shook her head, "I just think that his condition is not very bad, maybe he can recover." Wang Xiuying shook her head and smiled bitterly, "Recovery is impossible. When I was a child, I secretly took him to find a master. The master said that there are several demons living in his body, and there is no certain way to disperse him. A lot of money is needed, and a master with a deeper way is needed." "Ugh!" Lin Xiaoyu's beautiful eyebrows frowned. "Where's the stick liar? When the author wrote this book, he gave it to people with schizophrenia. It's so metaphysical. I guess you cheated a lot of money, right? Forget it. This is the way people think in this era. Although they are advocating materialism, there are many spiritualists." "Xiaoyu." Wang Xiuying sighed. "Mother-in-law." Lin Xiaoyu hurriedly responded. "Xiao Yang's situation may be more serious." Wang Xiuying said with a sad face, "My dad and I will take care of more private work during this period. Try to take him to see the master again a year ago. You are at home, watch him more." Lin Xiaoyu said with a serious face, "Okay, I will definitely take care of Xiao Yang and take care of Xiao Yang." Seeing her sincere, Wang Xiuying felt relieved, "You child, it's pretty good." Lin Xiaoyu raised her eyebrows, "Mother-in-law, my character is very good." Wang Xiuying smiled happily, "It's pretty good. I quite like you as a child." Lin Xiaoyu won the favor of her mother-in-law, and the relationship between her mother-in-law and daughter-in-law was initially settled. You know, originally in this house, the original owner, Lin Xiaoyu, was bullied by her mother-in-law and father-in-law just like Ku Niang because she hated Yan Yang. Now, she has mixed up many times better than the original master Lin Xiaoyu. When Lin Xiaoyu was washing the dishes, Yan Yang, the third personality, was in the side room, with Erlang's legs tilted, thinking about what bad things should be done next. Lin Xiaoyu rushed into the small side house after washing the dishes. Pushing the door, seeing Yan Yang lying on the bed, she said anxiously, "Hey, don't sleep. You won't be you when you wake up when you fall asleep." Yan Yang sneered, got up and sat up, propped his hands on the bed, looking at her lazily, Why? You can't bear me. Of course I can't bear it. Of the three, is he the most handsome? Lin Xiaoyu closed the door, trot towards him, smiled and sat on the bed. Tell you something very interesting. Yan Yang raised his brows and said lazily, what? Lin Xiaoyu took off her shoes and sat cross-legged. Mother-in-law Gang told me that she wants to make more money and took you to see the master a year ago. She said that there is a demon hidden in your body. Once it came out, the situation was very bad. She also said that she would go to the master and find a way to restrain the devil in your body. This was afterwards chatting, and Wang Xiuying talked too much to her. Lin Xiaoyu wanted to laugh when she heard it. Because she knows that the devil in Wang Xiuying's mouth is the third person. The other two personalities are gentle and obedient. Whispering sound. Yan Yang let out a disdainful sound, turned around and lay down on the bed, folded his hands together and placed it on the back of his head. I don't know if it is an illusion. Lin Xiaoyu saw his face, and a second of disappointment flashed. What? Did she say something wrong? She shouldn't say such things in front of him, right? He must also know that he is the devil in his mother's mouth, right? What I mean is that the mother-in-law is too superstitious. Lin Xiaoyu hurriedly added, actually, your situation can be explained medically, it's just a mental illness. She said I was a demon, and you said I was mentally ill. Yan Yang snorted, funny. Only he himself knew that his appearance was just self-protection. No, this is really a mental illness. When Lin Xiaoyu saw that he had listened to her heart, she hurriedly sought remedies. In medicine, your condition is called schizophrenia. It just splits into different personalities, but every personality exists. This is only in mental illness. One kind, moreover, can be cured. Come on. Yan Yang snorted, lowered his eyes, and glanced at her. How to heal? Kill me? Leave one of the three. Lin Xiaoyu, She really didn't understand this disease. I only remember that in the original novel, when the male protagonist Liu Xiaming dealt with Yan Yang, he and the female protagonist tried to punt him, killing his other two personalities, leaving the so-called, the purest 6-year-old personality. In fact, he was sent to a mental hospital at the age of 6. If you really follow the original novel, this kind of cure is too cruel. Hey! Yan Yang suddenly called her and asked casually, if it takes 3 to stay 1 to be cured, which one do you want to keep? Lin Xiaoyu answered in seconds, of course it's you. In the original book, she liked him the most. The corners of Yan Yang's lips twitched upwards. Oh? Are you sure? Lin Xiaoyu nodded, okay. At this moment, Yan Yang was in a good mood. He likes this cheap wife more and more.